Hey everybody, bringing to you some gameplay today for Pixelborn Lorcana, and today we are going to be showcasing the new cards Flotsam and Jetsam. So specifically, we are using a Flotsam Jetsam Amber value deck. So this is a bit more mid-range. So just some thoughts I have on the new cards, Flotsam and Jetsam. They're certainly a very combo-y, right? And I think they're the first case, other than Pascal, which is a situational evasive, that we have true evasive cards in Amethyst, and that's a huge deal. Um, as you can see, Jetsam itself just has evasive, and it can also give evasive to a rush character, Flotsam. And the reason why it's big is because Amethyst tends to be more of a control deck, and historically, I've seen that most of the time, if I'm running like a control Amethyst Steel deck, I have a tough time dealing with evasives. Notably with Giant Tink and Simba, those two are like kind of the main go-tos to try to deal with opponent evasives, and Giant Tink doesn't feel super good. So what we have now with Flotsam and Jetsam is an additional tool in potentially an Amethyst Steel deck to deal with opponent evasive characters. So sometime later, I'll be showcasing kind of a more updated Amethyst Steel control deck, which I've tested a bit, also feels very nice. But today we're going to be just showcasing Jetsom and Flotsom as kind of uh, evasive lore generators, and they do feel pretty good. And we want to really try to showcase those cards by putting them with Amber, because Amber is kind of the color that really allows you to seek out um, specific characters from your deck, notably in the Be Our Guest card, which allows you to search through 4 cards for those Flotsam and Jetsams, as well as Hades, which if you're running Flotsams or Jetsams into your opponent, they go into your grave or discard banish graveyard. And you can recur them back with Hades. So Ember is really the character support deck, which fits perfectly because we want to try to play some games and showcase exactly how Flotsam and Jetsam does. So without further ado, here's kind of our deck list. In Amber, we have Hey Hey, just as a good 1-drop, if I can find him. Sometimes, most of the time you tend to ink him. Sometimes that additional boost can help Flotsam or Jetsam trade into an opponent invasive. So Hey Hey's nice. I don't know why the picture on this shows Mickey. So that's interesting. Be Our Guest, which is a great card too. Yes, allows us to search out for our Flotsams and Jetsams. Maximus, a great. I was searching for a good 3-drop. Specifically, with opponents steal kind of the bodyguard, steel bodyguard. I don't remember quite what it is, but it's a 3/3 like Mickey or something like that. Uh, bodyguard. We need a way to deal with that, and so Maximus. I was looking at either Maximus or I think there was a 3 drop like with Rush. We also do include Rafiki. I don't like. I was considering either Maximus or Mickey. Um, I figured that the additional upside of Maximus reducing attack can be a little bit better than Mickey's just 2 Lord, though that's a toss up really. So those were my considerations why choosing Maximus over Mickey in Amber. Hades for the recursion, and then our endgame Stitch just for that little bit of push in card draw in a stally type game. In Amethyst, we have Pascal, which is a good kind of one drop evasive. Always good, I think, Pascal, unless you have a particular reason to not really want to play him or include him. Yzma, which is another way. I just pretty much included all of the cards that allow you to search out for Flotsam and Jetsam, since this is a showcase to see how Flotsam and Jetsam does. Friends on the other side, more card draw, Maleficent card draw. Pretty much there's as you start playing Lorcana, the ink colors, there's a bunch of like standard cards or packages. So if you're playing a certain color, you're almost always going to be including those cards. They're kind of like the iconic cards in those colors. Maleficent and Friends on the other side are definitely part of Amethyst's iconic cards. Rafiki, a great tempo play on turn 3. Plus, always include him just so your opponent respects what you can do on turn 3 and maybe needs to be careful of what they do, quest or sing, that sort of stuff. Jafar, good challenger at the 4-drop slot. And then Jetsam and Flotsam, which what Jetsam does is it gives all of your flotsams evasive, which helps them when they come into play. If they want to trade, makes it difficult for opponents to trade back into them. And then flotsams with evasive can generate 2 lore. Jetsams only generate 1 lore, or they have evasives. And then flotsams, what they do is give all of your jetsams rush, which is also really useful, especially if you want to play a Jetsam with evasive and then run into like a 2 strength character on the board and that sort of stuff. What is an interesting interaction I've seen is if you have both Flotsam and Jetsam on the board, and there's an opponent evasive card, sometimes it's a little bit awkward because if you especially if your opponent has like an evasive that you need to run both Flotsam or Jetsam in, or you need to attack into 2 evasives with Flotsam and Jetsam and they trade equally. Because if you trade with Flotsam onto an opponent's evasive, because Jetsam gives Flotsam evasive, if both of them trade off, now Jetsam doesn't have Rush anymore because Flotsam's dead. So unless you have 2 Flotsams, now Jetsam cannot challenge into an opponent's evasive, especially if you just play Jetsam. Now, if you had Jetsam already on the board and play a Flotsam, what you can do is attack into one of their evasives and trade with Flotsam, and even if that dies, Jetsam still has evasive and can challenge into that second character. So you want to be a little bit careful because sometimes multiple trades that require either Flotsam or Jetsam to die can get really tricky in that interaction. And then finally, we have Mickey, just for the broom interaction and some more value there. And so that's the Jetsom Flotsam Amber value deck. And let's get into some gameplay. Not particularly confident in being able to get some wins with this deck. I just pretty much I tested it a little bit, but mostly I just threw cards together. I figured out what might work and wanted to get some gameplay with the new cards in the deck. So even if we lose, at least I can kind of explain, give some commentary on my thought process and the decks that we go up against and why Jetsom and Flotsom are good or bad, and we'll kind of end at least this commentary with some of my final thoughts on the new cards. So without further ado, let's get into some games. Yeah, hopefully games won't take too long to start. It's always a little bit of a pain to try to edit out these um, pauses while waiting for games, since it almost doubles the time it takes to upload these videos onto YouTube. But hopefully, if they're not super long, I can just fill in the space with some commentary. Speaking of which, I think we got a new card reveal today. I think it's Trenton or something. Say 7 cost, 5/9 vanilla character. I think questing for 2 lore. And it is definitely a very big body. I think it's yeah, like what is it? That Maui can't run into it and kill it off on 1 turn. And who are Simba also has difficulty dealing with it quickly. But I think my perspective on that new card, and it'll be interesting to try to run a little bit into it, or try to run that character and see how it does, is we're finally starting to get some high-end cards for Sapphire. And Sapphire is the kind of ramp deck, and so in the past you had to combine Sapphire with Ruby in order to kind of get to that end game ramp. But yeah, hopefully now we can combine Sapphire into some other stuff and kind of ramp into some good stuff. So let's see. We don't really need a Stitch, and that's a lot of Mickeys. We don't need those. Rafiki, we probably don't need. We want card draw and want to keep the Jetsom. So we will mulligan these cards and try to continue to grab more card draw. Maybe I shouldn't have mulliganed the Rafiki. I think that was the only. It's really nice to have Rafiki. Okay, so we're playing against Stitch. Let's see. We could drop down to Hey Hey. We want to turn to your guest. So I'm thinking, yeah, turn 1 Hey Hey is gonna be pretty nice. We'll ink a Hey Hey and play out a Hey Hey and pass the turn. Maybe we can fool them into thinking we're also running Stitch and kind of make their plays a little bit different than how they would go up against like a mid-range. But most of the time, Stitch just does its own thing, so it's not going to affect opponent's play all too much. So turn 2, we kind of continue to search out for Flotsom and Jetsom. Probably ink the Pascal. Okay, they're doing Amber Steel. Generally, for Hey Hey decks, you run Amber Amethyst, so not too sure if this is actually a Stitch deck. But we will ink that and play Be Our Guest. And we don't get a Flotsam or Jetsam. So we will grab the Maleficent and just pretty much try to get as much card draw value as we can. So turn 3 Maleficent. Turn 4 will depend on how much we need to try to control their board. Hercules. See, and this is where Rafiki might be useful, because Rafiki just outright trades with the Hercules. But we are okay with inking a Maleficent and playing out a Maleficent. Just drawing some additional cards. Nice. So now we're starting to get into our Flotsoms and Jetsoms. So we will pass the turn. Next turn, we probably want to start playing out a Jetsom. Turn 4, Jetsom. Turn 5, Flotsam. Turn 6, Jetsom probably. And okay, so they're going to fire the cannons. Always a little bit annoying. Good play on their part, because that does prevent me from seeing friends on the other side. And they got some really nice, bodyguard cards. It's gonna be really nice once we start getting a little bit more of a board presence. So we're gonna ink a Maximus and we're gonna play out our Jetsom. Let's start getting some board presence under and pass the turn. Turn 5, we will play the Flotsam and hopefully um kill some stuff. Okay. Got Beast's Mirror. At least we can kill the Simba. And they're not going to, which is good. Okay, so we're gonna run in the Flotsam. Oh, or Rafiki. The Flotsam's a little bit better. So what we're gonna do is we're going to Inca Maximus and play out our Flotsam. Run into the Hercules. The Flotsam. Run into the Prince Eric with Jetsom. And then pass our turn. See, and the evasiveness really helps because it protects our characters. So now opponent has a really tough time challenging into our board. Tink pretty much wrecks us right now. So let's just hope they don't have a giant Tink. Okay, that's fine. See, now they can't challenge any of our characters, which is great. And if they do quest, we got some more rapid challenges coming up. So, yep, this is great for us. Okay, so we have 6, right? So what we can do is we want to play out a Rafiki and a Maleficent, probably. So we'll ink the brooms and play out the Rafiki and play out the Maleficent. Draw a card. Let's see. So we want to challenge into the Simba. We don't really care about their Stitch right now, right? So we might as well sing Friends on the Other Side. Flotsam. Nice. And we got some recursion there. I probably should have sang with Jetsom because that's one throwing already. Lost out on one lore, but that should be fine. So now, turn 7, we can play out. I actually think it might be good for us to play something out. And okay, so they have some way of dealing with our Flotsams and Jetsams with Simba, but we want to just remove their board, and we have so much control. Right now. It's actually not too bad. Their Beast Mirror is really what's gonna save them eventually. Okay. So we're gonna quest. Can't really do much with any of our characters if they don't give us a target. So we're just gonna quest with everything. And then we're gonna play out another Jetsam. We'll play out a Hey, I guess, and Inca Jafar. We want more lore. So at this point, we have a pretty good board, but another Simba. Man, those are gonna be tough to deal with. But thankfully, this is why we include our recursion, right? Okay, that's fine. So we have a Rafiki to run into a Simba. Then I guess we'll run out the Hades, grab back our Flotsam for next turn, and then we will probably try to kill the Maximus with the Hey, and then quest with everything. Yep. It's they're definitely stabilizing with the Beast's Mirror. Yeah, so this is a pseudo Stitch deck, not really a Stitch. They just play Stitch to try to scare opponents. That's fine. We can trade into that with Hades, or not. Um, let's see. So we play out a Flotsam. Hmm. Yeah, I guess we have to trade our Jetsam into that. That's annoying. Oh, we can trade our Flotsam into that. Yeah, let's just trade our Flotsam into that. And then a quest for 2. And then pass the turn. What does our opponent have? They do have a beast. Doesn't really do much for them right now. So we will play out another Flotsam. We'll play out Pascal. And we'll quest with our Jetsom. And pass the turn. Just rely on our evasives right now for protection. Okay. That does take care of the evasive. I think we can still outrun or outrace the opponent. Hmm. What are they thinking about? What did they have in their hand? Hope opponent didn't disconnect. Okay, they have a smash in their hand. Well, I guess we continue to try to outrace opponent at this point. 14, 15, and pass the turn. We have 16, 17, 18 on board. Hopefully, if Pascal survives, that's 19. And if we can get an extra turn, we might be able to just eke out a victory here. Yeah, it's real close. Like I said, Beast Mirror is very annoying to deal with from the opponent's side. Just have a lot more gas than we do. Hope they don't have 2 fire cannons. Okay. That's actually really okay. Because they don't get to draw from Beast's Mirror. I mean, they get to quest with Beast, but they don't have lethal next turn. We have a Be Our Guest. Um, Probably gonna draw into a Hades. Play that. Grab a Hey, probably. Just to avoid any Tink shenanigans. And then we'll quest with everything. And hopefully, say our 2 extra characters can survive to generate us 1 more ink. Or 1 more lore. Yeah, I did not expect to win against Steel there. So, nice. Are we on the leaderboard once again? Just have to check. We are. So just right above friends. So cool. Right, let's do one more game and see how that turns out. Yeah, I think the currently evasives are still very good in terms of just offering some protection. If my characters didn't have evasive, there were a lot more trades that the opponent can run into us. And also we wouldn't have gotten quite the infusion of lore in that middle game that we actually got, which helped us just barely get past the finish line there in that game. So evasive is always, I think, going to be good, just like flying in Magic the Gathering. Meanwhile, never mind. I can see if there are any other people in Discord. Oh. Hey, Cabled. Yeah, I really need to figure out a better way to kind of do streaming and kind of going to YouTube. So essentially right now what I'm doing is just deafening or like kind of turning down the audio for Discord all the way, just so in the YouTube nothing from Discord or voice chat comes through. But I do have my mic on, so it's a bit awkward since I won't be able to hear anything that people say. But hopefully I'll be able to. Right now, I can at least look at my phone and see if other people are in the room and just say hi to them that way. But yeah, hopefully we'll find a smoother solution as we get more used to this content creation business. So let's see, we got Jetsom, we got some card draw. We will mulligan pretty much all of these. Nice, and we got a Flotsam too, and a Rafiki. So we got some really nice plays here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink a Mickey since we know for sure we won't need him. I'm not going to play out my Hey Hey unless we really need to, because that is another ink that we can put in. So a lot of times, you're just so used to just, oh, if I can play something, I should play it. But sometimes you might want to hold on to it. Like, I know for a fact I want to keep all my Jetsoms, and if opponent doesn't play anything super like threatening, like a baby Maleficent or something that quests for 2 lore, I don't feel the need to play out a Hey Hey. So I'm just gonna ink the Hey Hey and pass the turn. And so now, if opponent plays something next turn, or quests with Timon, I can just Rafiki and kill it, which is a fairly nice trade there. And so the idea here is we'll do turn 3 Rafiki, turn 4 Sing Rafiki, and then play Jetsom, and turn 5 Flotsam, and see if we can quest our way to victory there. That's totally fine. We're gonna ink Stitch to high lore for now. Play out the Rafiki, run into the Timon, and if they want to trade their mini into the Rafiki, that's a 2-for-1. I will take that any day. Even though it means we won't get to sing friends on the other side, we'll be able to sing friends with other cards. We're in no rush to sing friends on the other side or play need card draw for now. So sometimes you gotta be patient too. Oh, okay. That is a little bit more concerning. That's a princess deck. We haven't run into that in a while. So we will sing friends on the other side since we're good. So now the question is, do we play out Jafar or do we play out a Jetsam? If we play out the Jetsam, we can play out Flotsam next turn with evasion. Good question. Well, regardless, we're going to ink the broom. So what are they going to do? Quest, untap, and kill Rafiki. So we really need a way to deal 6 damage next turn. So Jetsom and Flotsam is 6 damage. So I think we're pretty safe to play out the Jetsom and pass the turn. Opponent might play a bodyguard character, which will definitely be annoying. But if they do, we'll just kind of manage to deal with it. Okay, so Mickey is fine. Okay, so they're just not doing anything. I mean, if that's the case, we will start questing our way to victory then. We want to keep the Rafiki up just to be able to run into something, and we're not in any particular rush here. We want to always be ready to deal with the Moana as it gets ready to quest. Man, okay, is Mulan princess? Yes, Mulan is a princess. Okay, so he can challenge twice. Other characters get +1. Okay. We're not super concerned with the Mickey. In fact, we can trade Rafiki in. I think the play here is trade Rafiki into the Mickey. That's generating them 2 lore. Play out another Jetsam because we absolutely want to make sure our characters have evasion. Keep everything else, I think, and then just quest. And once again, we're just gonna rely on protection from evasion to deal with whatever princess shenanigans they're playing. Yeah, like they can't do much right now. And the moment they quest with Moana or Mulan, we're just gonna take them out. That's I guess that's one issue with if you don't have any evasive characters, you're kind of a little bit stuck there. Okay. Do we have any cards in our graveyard? A Rafiki. Don't really need Rafiki. So I guess we'll play out another Flotsam. We will sing a Be Our Guest with a Jetsam. I'm going to draw another Jetsam. And then we will quest, and pass the turn. The good thing is, yeah, I wonder, once they start questing with everything, I wonder what the play is. They do have Stitch, okay, so that's good to know. I think Stitch might be a little bit too slow here. Jetsom will have Rush when it comes into play, which is good. So why don't we play out a Jetsom, run into the mini, just to, and quest with everything. Oh, and they just give up. Yeah. So hiding behind evasives is just really nice. Cool. I'm going to stop the YouTube, and I'll probably end up playing a little bit more on the stream there, on Discord. Oh, before I leave, so my thoughts on Jetsom and Flotsom. Yeah, if opponents unprepared to deal with Jetsom and Flotsoms, they can definitely be pretty a menace, shall we say. But the issue is for a two card combo or like a multiple card combo at 4 and 5 ink and needing to like search out for them feels like it doesn't give you too much bang for your buck, right? Because like this, we didn't run into too much removal, but opponents could have easily dragonfired, let it go, cannoned, killed our Jetsoms and Flotsoms, and sometimes you just don't find kind of the combo pieces. Similar to like Mickey and Broom, I think Jetsam and Flotsam are about the same power level as Mickey and Broom combos. So not super broken. They do give the Amethyst player a lot more options and control for like kind of different matchups. And so I think that's the power that lies in them. And oftentimes Jetsam and Flotsam by their own aren't too bad of a card. Just having that evasive or having that rush in Amethyst is always good there. So those are my thoughts there. And with that, hope this video helped.